There's a lot of creepy locations in Skyrim, most of them pretty standard, dark caves, decrepit dungeons, and normal stuff, but there's some stuff in this game that does catch you by surprise. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, let's talk 10 Skyrim locations that are freakier than you thought. At number 10, the abandoned house in Markarth. Markarth is a city found on the far western edge of Skyrim, and it's already kinda creepy on its own. It's an ancient looking place. Most of it's pretty normal, however, outside of all the tombs, and there's one location that's particularly unusual, the abandoned house. Outside this random door, you'll find this guy, Aniss, who thinks this house is being used to worship Molag Bal, which is one of the most evil Daedric princes of the Elder Scrolls, if you need to know. And if you agree to help him, you'll enter this seemingly normal-looking house. But it doesn't take too long for everything to go crazy. Pots and pans go flying everywhere, lights go off and on. Everything becomes misty, and a voice in your head tells you to kill Aniss. Even if you choose not to kill him, eventually you'll have to. All the doors get locked and he's driven mad and attacks you anyway. After killing him, you can leave, but the voice tells you to go deeper into the house to collect your reward. It is always a bad idea to listen to voices in your head. They are never telling you to do something normal. Sit in your favorite chair and play video games. It's not something that happens. You don't get that. But if you follow through, you're basically forced to help Molag Bal lure an unsuspecting priest into the shrine, and he forces you to beat the poor guy to death. I mean, you get a pretty sweet mace out of the deal. But yeah, stuff gets out of control in this random little place.
You mortals and your frail, limp, pathetic bodies. Try it again.
At number 9 is Marsai Pond. It's an unassuming pond found southwest from Winterhold. It doesn't seem like there's any reason that this would be a named location either. But strangely, there is a lamp hanging off a tree on the little island at the center of the pond. There's also a boat with some crates near the island. If you look closely, you can find a hatch hidden in a rotten stump. Inside is a cave with 2 vampires in it who will attack you on sight. By dealing with them, you can find out what was going on here. There's a few butchered bodies near the fire, along with the body of a smuggler who looks pretty recently killed. There's skeletons inside what look like wooden crates. And it seems pretty clear that the vampires were paying this smuggler to dispose of their victims. I mean, if you spend the time trying to figure out what's going on anyways. If you have literally no capacity for analysis, it probably just looks like a mess. But hey, still creepy. Not something you'd expect to find in what is an otherwise quiet area. At number 8 is Iverstead, with the beggar and his sister. Now, Iverstead seems like a really normal town found in the southeast of Skyrim. It's really nondescript. It's at the bottom of a mountain. They've got a river. They've got some logs. There's genuinely nothing that's going to shock you here. There is, however, a beggar in the town who is pretty insane and is constantly ranting about his lost sister. If you ask around, the people in town will tell you the story. The sister was shot for some reason. I don't know, maybe she talked too much, was annoying, or I don't know. But she ended up drowning in the river while gathering alchemy ingredients. Her body is actually still out there too. It's at the bottom of the river next to the bridge. She's even got the apothecary's satchel, and if you check her body, you can find her necklace. Is nothing sacred though, willing to take the necklace off a dead girl. For shame. If this was the PlayStation 3, that entirely unnecessary item would fill up your RAM and restrict the performance. That's the reason I'm telling you this is bad. At number 7 is Winterhold Prison. If you look around the far northern city of Winterhold, you might not even realize they have a prison. You'll notice that winter does definitely have a hold on the area, and therefore it was named quite appropriately, but the prison's not immediately as obvious. If you look far north of the college, you'll find this completely unmarked area, the Chill. It's so remote, it's practically off the map. Inside, you'll find a pretty nasty punishment for anyone who breaks the law in Winterhold. Cages left in an ice cage, guarded by Frost Atronach. Big hulking ice men with bad names that are hard to pronounce. 2 of the cages are just sitting around filled with bones, which suggests that they just put criminals up there and leave them to die. Oh, you broke the law? Well, I guess you get to go up here and die in the cold. I mean, this is kind of a mysterious location because we don't really get any information on it. It's difficult to find and it's very obviously cruel. At number 6 is Aniss's Cabin. Now, this isn't actually that far from the start of the game. It's just a small, nondescript, tiny little cabin near Falkreth Hold. Just an old rundown shack with an old lady sitting out front. An old lady who seems super normal if you just talk to her. I mean, you're not uncovering anything about her by just talking to her, and she's just kind of like chill. Hey, what's up? Yeah, I got a small house. Kinda sucks, but whatever, that's my place in life. But then if you explore more, you'll find a hatch leading to an underground cellar where you'll find enchanting equipment, a note about joining a coven, and creepily, human skulls all over the place. When you exit the cellar, she attacks you. It's just one of those encounters that kind of freaks you out because you don't really expect it at all. Like, you wouldn't think Aniss was going to attack you. She's an NPC. Most of the time when you do stuff like this, they just sort of passively let you rummage through their stuff and take whatever, and say nothing. Not this lady. Basically, it tells the player that anything can happen in this game, and it totally caught me by surprise the first time it happened.
Fool. Now you know my secret.
And at number 5, the Windhelm Murder House. In the city of Windhelm, which is in the northeast of Skyrim, there is a murderer called the Butcher terrorizing the citizens. There's a quest called Blood on the Ice if you want to assist in the investigation of these killings, and after doing so, investigating the crime scene, you can follow the trail of blood to a seemingly abandoned house. Now, the place is weirdly empty, but there are some unusual things you can end up finding there, like pamphlets saying beware the butcher, and probably most surprisingly, the secret room behind a cupboard. It's basically a torture room. There's bones everywhere and bloody pieces of meat. There's a bucket to the side filled with more bones. And you can find some journals that are left behind by the killer, and woof, he's a sick puppy. Let's just go ahead and say that. You can read them if you're that interested. It's just a pretty creepy side quest, you know? It's totally possible to simply wander into this place and find this nasty secret room entirely on your own. And in that context, without the actual mission, ooh, it's so much weirder. I would be way freaked out if I just wandered into that. At number 4, it is the Midden. It can be found under the College of Winterhold, the School of Magic, in the remote northeast of Skyrim. You'll find a quest inside Winterhold. It's not marked, but it's called Forgotten Names. Weirdly, there's a Daedric relic in the circle in the room, deep in the Midden. Beside it, you'll find a bloody skeleton, and on the table nearby, there's a note. In that note, you find out that the faculty were trying to find 4 missing students from the college, and they concluded they were all killed while trying to summon something that was much more powerful than them. Oh, the intrigue. Basically, yeah, they were trying to summon a demon in the school basement. You know, that old chestnut. If I had $1 for every time I tried to do that while I was off at magic school, right? There's a key nearby that can open a chest in the school that contains the 4 rings from each student. If you put all 4 rings in the Daedric relic, you'll summon a Daedra named Velexane, who admits to killing the students. When he appears, you can see the 4 skulls of the 4 students who were killed in the ritual. You can agree to let the demon go, or you can kill it. It's just a creepy little mystery that takes a little effort to uncover. I mean, you can basically spend all your time going through this area without even realizing any of this happened here, reminding you that digging into the history of any place will uncover something unpleasant. At number 3 is the Frostflow Lighthouse. This is way up in an isolated spot, way up in northern Skyrim. It looks like any other ordinary lighthouse, except there is a dead horse outside. I don't know about you, but I have never considered that a good sign. You go inside, you'll immediately find a dead body, the first victim of the Charis that burrowed into the lighthouse basement. If you are unfamiliar with a Charis, it's kind of like a big scorpion without a tail. It bites instead of stings with a tail. That in mind, when the player looks around, there's spooky notes describing scratching noises at night. You find the hidden key to the basement, and you'll see a bunch of bugs and a tunnel into the quote-unquote Frostflow abyss. You keep going and you find the body of the son of the other dead guy, and then you keep going and you find the source of the infestation, a Charis hive with a queen. If you don't like bugs, it's a good way to have nightmares, 'cause them's is not nice bugs. I mean, I guess basically the way to sum up what happened here is a normal family lived in a normal lighthouse until it got bugs. At number 2 is Floral Host, found in the southeast of Riften. When you approach, a guy outside will ask you, "Hey, you gotta get a mask inside this place, guy." He doesn't say it like that though. And that begins the siege on the Dragon Cult quest. It seems like a pretty standard Draugr-filled dungeon at first, and yeah, there is a lot of Draugr in here. But as you explore, you find notes that suggest some pretty messed up stuff happened here. This place was one of the last holdouts of the dragon cult, dragon worshippers who were really into human sacrifices until the people they ruled overthrew them in the Dragon War. Further in, you'll discover what happened. The cultists committed a mass suicide by poisoning the well. The creepiest part is near the end, where you find a mass grave filled with what seem to be the corpses of children. The place has a pretty Jonestown vibe to it, and it's just really unpleasant. And finally, at number 1, Yngvild. If you want to find this place, you look up in a distant Rouen northeast of Dawnstar. It seems basically like a standard dungeon, until you start finding journals anyways. There was a dude hiding out here and he left journals. I mean, it'd be really hard to find journals if he hadn't. He was a necromancer though, and he had, let's call it, a disturbing interest with the women of Dawnstar. He wrote fairly excitedly about finding female corpses to bring back in order to do his bidding, and he's like really into corpses that do his bidding, who all happen to be women. I mean, I think you're probably catching what I'm throwing here, and I'm throwing it to get rid of it because I don't want to deal with it. Anyways, he kills a Dawnstar girl who recognizes him, and then he brings her back as a ghost, which led him to begin murdering women from Dawnstar and bringing them back as ghostly servants. Thankfully, you kill this little freak at the end of the dungeon, but only after having to deal with all the mindless spirits of the women he murdered, who were obviously mindless for being murdered and brought back as ghosts, not because they're women. That's a joke. I didn't really think I had to specify that. Anyways, you go deeper past his room and you can find all of the corpses of his victims. There's necromancy, necrophilia, and a lot of murder, so hey, nice place, right? Wrong. It's incredibly creepy, it's kind of shocking, and actually it's pretty gross. So, did these locations in Skyrim freak you out sufficiently? One way or another, we had a lot of fun compiling this. Which was the freakiest in your opinion? Leave us a comment, let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, click subscribe, and don't forget to enable all notifications. As always, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero, and we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.